Hello and welcome to, well, we're going to be making an animation that accompanies all 12 principles of animation in Photoshop. So to get started, we're going to go with web, and I like to go with largest format there and make sure that artboard is turned off. So I'm going to hit Build Create there. Now down here you notice I've got timeline. You can go window, timeline to have that in there. And this is what we're going to use to create our animation. So right off the bat, I'm going to hit create frame animation, and there we go. And as always, we never draw on background layers. So I'm just going to draw a new layer, and this is going to be my guide. And over here, I'm going to pick a nice blue color, get my brush tool. And I'm just going to hold shift and just drag across. That's going to be up round. So we're stopping our staging area. We want to have a character basically over here. He's going to bounce over here, etc. Now, to help us along, we're going to create the art. Again, accompany one of the 12 principles of animation. We're going to just draw a nice arc like so. Yep, pretty happy with that. Don't worry if it's not perfect because, again, this is just a guide. So there we go, that's our guide. We don't need that anymore. And we'll get a nice black brush. And I'm just going to make a start. So on the first layer, just going to draw a nice circle. Again, don't worry if it's not perfect. See, that's not perfect. But I'm going to leave it like that because it adds to the appeal. Making a character. And again, adding to the 12 principles. So now we're going to bring another layer. Now, again, we're going to have to get squash and stretch. So this guy's going to squash down, bringing in exaggeration, anticipation, as well as squash and stretch. So yay, we'll be doing so many principles. So about here, that's too much. Undo. Let's do that again. Undo is your best friend. We want to basically make sure the bottom here stays the same as it shrinks down, grows out, and we're going to add another layer where we're going to make it even more squashed. So kind of creating a nice little iris there. Going to create another layer. Now this is where it's going to lift off the ground, so this is going to be the opposite where it's going to be stretching out. So if you a bit too much, again remember that you want to keep it realistic. To a degree, yeah, that's a bit better. To another layer. Just having these touching there. And as we're slowing down, there's going to be more frames closer together. So we're going to have it becoming more of a natural ball here. Another frame. And together in the center here. Another frame. There. There's got another frame. That's going to be descending, stretching down, and stretching it more. There you go. And then next one's going to hit the ground and be squished down. So again, following this shape over here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Then a little less squash. Let's switch that. Let's try it again. Nope, don't like that. Let's do it again. Yeah, happy with that. And I'm going to add another really up, something like that. Remember, Control Z is your best friend. Yeah, it's about the same sign there. You're trying to use these. The first one is a kind of visual guide. And there we go. That is our first set of balls. So now we've got our ball sorted, we just need to turn this into an animation. So over here, I'm going to turn off all my layers. So I'm just dragging down on the eye symbol. So I've just got layer 1. Over to our timeline over here, I'm going to press the little plus button here to create a keyframe. And turning layer 1 off, layer 2 on, keyframe, layer 2 off, layer 3 on. And you just keep doing this until the ball goes all the way to the other side, like so. Yeah, if you can actually play this. Yeah, that's pretty good actually. But we want the animations to be looped, so the beginning and end have to return. So stop there. On 13, we're going to add another frame, and we go back down. Just squashing down, adding to that anticipation, and just going the opposite direction, creating frames. Good. Now, you will notice that I don't, on the very last frame, create frame 1 because we already have it at the very beginning. Having it too much will create too much of a noticeable pause, and we want the animation to look like it's looping. So I only have the one frame there. You can see it's nice and smooth, going backwards and forwards, adding that anticipation, a little bit of exaggeration. I mean, you could exaggerate it more, but yeah, it's fine for what it's doing now. So the next bit we're going to do is we're going to add a tail, which will add a bit of follow through, secondary action, etc. Stop the animation there. And to keep things organized, I'm going to get the swatch tab there so I can see all my layers. I put these into a group, so I'm going to click frame 1, hold shift to the top, and down here we've got a group icon here. It's going to hit that. I'm going to call this ball. There you go. And back to my swatches, I'm going to pick a nice vibrant pink. You can pick a different color. And then onto frame 1, just going to create a new layer. And I'm just going to put a little dot in the center here. Frame 2, create another layer, new dot there. Don't worry, we are using new dots, etc. So maybe on top of the other. Right. This one down here. And go to 4. You start to move. So the dot's going to be dragging a bit. Drag a bit here. Next frame. Bring it a bit more there. Next frame. And then it's off center there, and we get to the top. In the center there, and you can see it's going to be a frame, next frame, drawing in a dot. Yep. Now, what we're doing here, we're doing something called straight ahead action. We've done a bit of we did straight ahead action with the ball. And instead of doing straight ahead action with the ball here, you dot here. Just using the ball as a guide. Lost into there. This is where it gets a bit more complicated because we are going to have dots on top of the other a little bit. They will make sense. Okay, close the end here. Let's make sure. Yeah. If you're ever unsure, check your layers. You can always undo. H4 dot there. So we've got a whole series of dots here. Now they don't make any sense, so I'm just going to go back here, highlight all the keyframes, and just turn all the dots off. So we can do it one at a time. We've got them placed. Got all the dots turned off. Click frame 1 and turn on the dot there. Next one, next dot. And you just keep at this until all the corresponding dots are turned on. Alright, yep. There we go. Just speed this up a little bit. And there we go. Now I can just play the animation. The dot should go following it there. Quite happy with that. Now I'm just going to pick a nice spot to start with. So when the ball is taken off here, not that one, but the one just before that. Finding the corresponding frame, which you can see the eye here. Clicking on that frame. I'm just going to drop a nice line there. Frame 6, make sure I'm the correct layer. Now here, it starts to slow down a bit, so I'm just going to rotate a little bit there. Escape there. And then you would pick up speed, so straightening out. And here's where the ball lands on the ground. I'm just going to skip these frames. And then have it takes off there. Really because we need train. The reason I'm doing this is because it's a good, these are probably the easiest ones to draw. And here I can just carry on showing was. And just bring these in. So we get to these. Let's have a look how that looks. So play. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So the next bit is just that we've got to do it when it lands. Yeah, stop the animation at the beginning here. Just going to where it just takes off here. So going back one frame. And you've got to have it so that the tail's just dragging a bit there. And frame 16 here, so turn on the one before that. Kind of easy as onion skinning. So now it's going to be over here. You take setting there. Now that leave the beginning frames for now. We'll come back to them. So we go jumping ahead. And the ball lands here on the inside. So on frame 11, go turn on the previous frame so I can see where it's going. Make sure the correct frame there. Just draw even that. So the previous frame so I can see what's happening. But I just kind of want to have the ball curve here. So even though the ball is stopped, we've got the motion of the tail going in that direction there. So still, again, following through with the motion. Yep, so nothing is there. Yep, drew in the wrong layer, that's where undo is handy. Even I get it wrong sometimes. Be very mindful of your layers. And here's where it's going to take off. So I know that this frame and this frame are a bit in between. So it's going to be triangle with a curve there. So it's to pull that. I drew on the wrong layer again. So here you go. And it joins that motion there. Beautiful. You just go right ahead here. So I got this one here, it's going to be contact that I know. Here it is. So you know this is going to be stuff there. And this is where it lands. Into the previous frame on. And I'm going to have it go curving to the side here to easily it out. And in case of how we'll rejoin the beginning, because we want this to be a looped animation, so I can go to frame 1, turn on the very top frame here, go to frame here, and just get the motion here, turn the top frame off, next frame, again, just like we did before, it's going to carry on that movement. Next frame. Now, I'm also happy with this using look. Well, one way to find out, let's play it, see how it looks. Yeah, I'm not so happy with the beginning one here. So I'm gonna stop the animation. Just have a look what's happening. I think it's this frame here, so I can redraw that. So just my erase tool. Okay. And just rub out. I am using a drawing tablet for this, a pen display. XP pen for the win. When you turn these frames on, so I got kind of an onion skin, and just get a brush tool, pressing B on my keyboard. So I know that we need to get it kind of in between these frames where it drags up. But we have it. Drag it here. Okay. And goes up. So see how that looks. Now I'm going to stop there. Let's have a look. Frame. Oh yeah, we have a missing frame here. What's in there? Let's have a look. See where that's straight again? Let's turn this off. There we go. That is so much better. So we've got a bit of overlapping and follow through going on in here. Okay, really happy with that. Now we can add a little bit more appeal. Now we can add a little bit more appeal to our character. So I'm just going to stop the animation. Select all frames because we don't need the guide anymore. So go down to the bottom here. Turn off the guide layer. I'm also going to tidy up these tail frames. Going to hold shift, so I select all of them. Press the folder icon. I'm just going to name this group tail. Keep things nice and organized. Now the tail's going to go behind the ball, so I'm just going to grab this whole entire group and just pop it between these two layers here. There we go, that's going to be behind the ball. And now here, I'm going to add a nice little softer color here. It's going to be quite a very soft little character. So I'm going to go for a nice soft pink. So I'm going to swatch it. And you can see I've been messing around with colors and let's pick this pink I had earlier. And get my paint bucket tool, which could be handy behind your gradients here. So I'm just going to make sure I grab that. Make sure I've got anti-aliasing turned on this time because I want to soften those edges. And just pop the color in there and just each frame is add the colors that go along. Just keep doing this. Now, if you do find that, let's say in this instance, I'm going to just make a copy mistake. Let's say you got a broken area there. Well, obviously your paint bucket is just going to go everywhere. So you could just bring in your black tool and draw that in. But I'm quite lucky that I managed to make sure all my circles are closed off. Which sometimes you may miss when you're just quickly trying to get motion in there. Okay. Here we go. So that's really good. Now let's add a little bit of appeal here. We're going to have the character have just eye dots. So again, on the ball layer, I'm just going to add some eye dots. Now I'm going to make sure that they're kind of again center, little carry eyes there. Next frame, now because he's squishing, I'm going to have the eyes emphasize that by a little squish there. And here they're going to be nice and shut, so just little lines here, so squishing down. And here we're going to be keeping the center there. And here. And here, squish. So we have like squish eyes. Suddenly, yep, I squished. And then just two dots there. If you play this, there we go. We've got a nice little animation. I probably could, work on the eyes a bit more, make them all cuter, bigger maybe. But in essence, this creates a nice peeling animation that accompanies all 12 principles animation: the squash and stretch, solid drawing, appeal, secondary action, follow through, everything. So if you didn't want to export this as an animated GIF, I'll be bringing to your game. Just going to turn all that off. Select all my layers because we've got a solid white layer here. We don't want that. So I'm going to turn off my background layer over here off. So now it's transparent on all my layers. Go into File, and probably the best thing to do, save as. And I'll just pink ball bounce. Yeah, happy with that. And close my. This message will come up. I'm just going to say okay. It's fine. And now to export. Now this export, we want to export it as an animated GIF. So we're going to save the web. My windows keep going onto the number window, so I'm just going to drag it over here. Now again, remember with a GIF, it has a color palette of 256 colors. Again, including back the transparency. So it's going to be a limited color palette. There you go. You can see how many colors we've got there. Now I'm just going to optimize, zoom out. There it is. Press Alt to zoom out. Here we go. So I can use test animation. Yep, very happy with that. And loop forever. Yep, it's going to loop forever. So I'm going to click Save here. And people bounce. Okay, good for this. Right here, people bounce GIF. Save. Done. And that's it. So if I bring in the files here, go to my card, There we go. We're going to have some nice animated GIF. You might play. Choose into the Explorer. I just gone off straight. Just bring this in. I don't want to download that. There we go. You see, playing nicely there. And this is something you can also bring into your Unity projects, etc. And again, accompanying all 12 principles animation. Hope you found this useful. Till next time.